Coming to you from the NightBreed Studios, it's the NightBreedCast, with your hosts, Eyes Adrift and Avago.
This is the NightBreedCast, Episode 5. I'm Eyes Adrift.
And I'm Avigo.
And here we are again. We do have some very exciting news and announcements today, but we will wait until later just to make you guys listen. Alright, so I was doing some research and he kind of did the first part of the outline and I kind of went in and fucked around. But, so if Av wants to go ahead and start, we'll start off that way.
Alrighty, so I've been doing some reading on the web and some things came up and there's been a little bit of controversy on, I'm not going to name the website or the article, but I'm just going to cover some of the topics and what I think about them. So the listeners, you can make your own opinions and, what have you. If you have any comments, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Voice your opinion.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this first section is basically game mechanics that increase player interaction and mechanics that are counterproductive to the community. So basically reduce the amount of player interaction required. And the biggest one on my list, numero uno, is auction house WoW style.
Yeah, that's an absolutely no.
Right. I mean, we've harped on this, but this is a huge thing for us. So, and I'm sure anybody in the crafting community that does this, as a major part of their gaming experience, and they craft things, they're going to agree. Auction houses, they basically require zero player interaction.
It takes away from the experience, in my opinion.
It also, yes, exactly. It also detracts from the experience. So there are so many better ways that you can do this. We prefer vendors.
Yes.
That you can put up. We've talked about, the centralized hub or board where people can look up items and then see where they are and then go there and buy them.
That would be amazing. That'd be great, because if they're saying, if someone's listening and they say, oh, they don't have the technology for this bullshit, they had it back in 2003, 2004 when Star Wars Galaxy came out, so... Come on. Right,
exactly.
Let's revive that.
So,
let's do this.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's just, I think the auction houses just ruin player socialization. It's just a big deterrent.
Yeah, and you have everybody in a fucking circle jerk just basting each other.
Around. Right.
Yeah.
It's horrible. They're just standing around doing nothing because you're looking through this database list.
Not only that, but what else fucks the community up is once they buy something, everyone's hovered around the mailbox, and you cannot get to the mailbox at all.
Right. Yeah, so that's another thing. You buy something, you get it in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. It's convenient, but
it's time to stop being lazy. To stop being lazy.
Virtual world. We need to create a virtual world. Sure, you can shop at home and have stuff shipped to your house.
Yeah.
But, for the most part, you got to go out and look for the stuff, buy it, and then bring it home. Mm-hmm. So, auction houses, WoW style, no.
Nope.
One of the other things that was mentioned in this article was looking for group tool. I agree. That looking for group tool probably is necessary.
Oh, yeah.
I remember back in the EQ days where it was horrible trying to find a group sometimes because you have 10 people in a zone, just to be an example, looking for a group, and they're all spamming shouting on the channel looking for a group, and there's just no organization, so you get like so many invites to a group and then nobody knows that you're in a group. It's just There needs to be some organization to it so that you can say, well, I'm doing these quests and I would like to find a group that is also doing at least some of these quests. It's horrible getting into a group that they're not doing the quests that you're on, and you find out after you've wasted your time and gotten to the group, and then you have to leave, and then you're standing there again for 30 minutes trying to find a group, or 15 or however long, and wasting even more time.
Yeah, it's bullshit, and like I said, it is a waste of time. I thought the Old Republic had a decent looking for group mechanism in it.
I mean, while yes, it does reduce some player interaction because you don't have to like yell at people for a group. It gets you into the group faster where you can socialize. I think that's one mechanic that is absolutely necessary in today's games, just because, I mean, it helps you stop wasting time finding a group, if you don't have a guild or whatever.
Right.
So I agree absolutely. Out of the three things that they were talking about, that's the only one that I agree that you need.
Right.
The other one was damage meters, and I'm sitting there going, huh? Why are damage meters a must-have? It just makes no sense. I mean, I've never played a game that had damage meters as a default.
I think that's just stupid. It's something that detracts from the game because you're sitting there staring at it, wanting...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're sitting there staring at it. I mean, I believe the modding community should be able to do it, but I don't think SOE should provide it as a default tool.
No.
Plus, in EverQuest Next, I think if you are maximizing for DPS or heals, I think you need to go play some other game, because that's not what this game is going to be about.
Right.
It's going to have emergent AI. If all you're doing is doing a rotation for the maximum amount of DPS, you're going to be dead, because the AI is going to figure out you're doing more DPS, you're more of a threat than the tank is, and they're going to come after you and they're going to smush you flat.
Right. Yep.
Same with the healer. If you're healing way too much, I mean, this whole mentality of maximizing DPS and spamming heals, this is all new. I mean, in EverQuest, you had to watch your DPS. You had to not continuously heal. You had to wait.
Yeah, if I'm tanking for your group and you steal aggro from me, you're fucking dead. I will not chase you down, because you get those assholes that run away. Oh, heal me. Oh, throw a threat. Taunt them. It's like, no, you fucked up. You're on your own, asshole. We're moving on.
Right. Yeah. The first time, we might save your ass. The second time, we're going to be pissed. The third time, you're fucking dying. And if it happens again, you're out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, this person sucks. But I mean, the whole damage meter thing, I completely disagree with it. It's not needed. It's not even really useful.
Nope.
You should always try to do as much damage as you can, but within reason. Try not to get too much aggro. In this game, you're going to have to be smart.
Yes.
The way you play your character. You're not going to be able to just spam heals or have some rotation that you do. I hate games that do that. It's just freaking annoying.
Yeah, it's not going to be your typical MMO whatsoever.
Right.
This is something different. I mean, it is a monster on its own.
Right. I really hope the emergent AI forces smart gameplay.
Yeah.
I hope it brings back crowd control.
Yes.
Having to think in a group on your feet. I mean, because as a guild, we've always been really, really good at that.
Except when someone's been drinking a little too much.
Well, yeah.
Oh, we should have done this podcast yesterday, man. I was pretty toasty.
Geez, yeah, you're kind of wasted. Yeah. All right.
Sorry.
So the next thing that I was thinking about that increases community and player interaction is being able to buff anyone.
Yes.
I think this is a plus. I mean, we were talking about drive-by buffing.
Yeah.
You stop and try to figure out who buffed them.
And then you wave and whatever. Right. Yeah. Strike the conversation.
It also, like in the original EverQuest, you could go and pay somebody to buff you.
Mm-hmm.
Get these really nice buffs. The only downside I could see to it is because of the fact that you can be any class.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to figure out some type of mechanic to where you can't buff yourself. Like if you have, all the classes that you need, you can just switch your class and buff yourself and then switch back. Something's got to be done so that can't happen. Like maybe you lose your buffs every time you switch your main class.
Right.
But anyway, I don't know. I'm not a real fan of the group-based buffs where you can only buff your group, and when you leave it, you lose anything that
that's
you don't have.
Just absolutely stupid and mind-numbing.
I hate it. Right. I hate it. I love timer-based buffs.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it allows you to, basically get gear and do things that modify, the length of spells and buffs or what have you. I just think it enhances the game.
Yeah.
It definitely, and group-based buffs, they detract from the game, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I can't stand it. It brings us to the next part. How are you going to deal with the timer-based buffs when you can be 40 different classes, like I already mentioned? anyway, there's so many different things that you could do. Like I said, switch class and the buffs dissipate, or you can only buff yourself with your current class buffs, which would require you to actually seek out people who are playing the other classes to get those buffs.
Right.
If you guys have any other suggestions or ideas about this, send us an email or post it on the forums. I'm sure Dustin's going to have some ideas. He always does.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of, you can email us at nightbreedcast@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/nightbreedcast. I would say comment on YouTube, but since YouTube and Google Plus are now one and the same, it's kind of hard to respond to people's comments. So if you don't hear from us, we apologize. It's just that we have to go through Google Plus, click on your comment, and then it pops up with the video, and then we have to. It's really stupid the way they did it. So until they fix it, we probably won't be replying back to any comments on YouTube. Apologies.
Alrighty. Well, I think that was all I had for that section.
Okay. One of our very exciting announcements is we are trying to partner up with SOE themselves for potential giveaways. We're going to have some stipulations. You must subscribe to our channel, and you have to email the answers to us and give us your YouTube or Google Plus name, whatever you use, in the email. And it's going to be, whoever answers it correctly the first time. Winners cannot win more than... once a month, you want to say?
Once a month, yeah.
Yeah. And we might be able to, depending on SOE, we still have to talk to them. I've been striking up a bit of conversation with Dexella. She is awesome. I'm not exactly sure if they want to do things every week or bi-weekly or monthly. So I'm kind of waiting on a response from her. She said once we get some firm plans to let her know. And I think we really, really want to do this. We'll do some trivia questions probably based off of lore or something in EQ1 or 2 or something about ourselves, something about the devs. Yeah, just listen and we'll let you know when the first question pops up.
Most definitely. Sounds awesome.
Okay, moving on. Now that, are you excited? Are your nipples hard? Yeah.
No,
Okay.
not really.
Yeah, it's kind of warm in here. I'm good.
It is cold though. So.
It is. God, it was 25 degrees today.
Yeah, it was a little chilly today. There were snow flurries when I was driving to work today.
Yep. We got some.
And I'm down in Tennessee. That's kind of crazy.
Yep. Anyway, enough of the weather. We want to talk about games. Okay, so being able to play with any character at any level at any time. What does it mean? Well, basically, from what we heard, there are no levels in the game. You kind of just skill up your character. So I could be playing for 6 years and then have, say my wife or if I have a kid, they want to start playing. I could start playing with them with my original character and skill up another set of skills. I believe that's what they mean. What do you think of?
It's what it sounded like to me. I'm not real sure how that's going to work, but they said horizontal progression as opposed to vertical progression. Maybe something Guild Wars style where you use a weapon or skills and kind of gain skill with it, and then as you open it up you get more abilities or different abilities that you can slot in that slot, or maybe you just only get a finite set, like 8 for that class, and they grow in power as you use them. Or maybe you get points that you can put in as perks to the skill, like if it's go with a wizard type character that's got like a fireball, and you gain some points, and then you can do things like maybe apply like an area effect. So the fireball becomes like a fire blast that's centered around the character, your player, or then you get another one and you can actually center it around a mob so that it's an area effect that you can place where you want, make it a little more powerful, or what have you. I mean, I don't know how it's going to work, but there's so many different things that you could do. I actually kind of like the point idea, because that way you could really customize your character to your play style and have abilities that were not the same as everybody else, but yet everybody starts out with the same abilities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then maybe you could have like different sets of those, you know, so like you could have so many points, and then you could like save an ability and have like different variations on it based on those points, so that you could like maybe not in combat, but like swap them out.
Right.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
That would be
kind
pretty
of
cool.
interesting.
When you play a traditional MMO, I am sick of, you know, I'm a tank, but then everybody else looks exactly like me. They you know,
have the same abilities.
They pick the same body
There's
style
nothing
because
different. Right.
you want a big bulky guy as the tank. But I really hope that during character customization, we really haven't touched that much on that because we don't know anything about it. But I really hope that it's extremely customizable. Like when Vanguard first came out, you could actually change the bone structure of your character's face and body until they dumbed it down. But hey.
Right. Well, I think there were performance issues.
Yeah. Because they were going to do the helmets. They didn't have helms in the game. Right. And I believe that's what it was. It was screwing with that. So
yeah, I don't know. It's been so long ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The memories.
Yeah. Supposedly there's going to be live streaming available in the game. Again, we don't know much about that. That is a Dustin rumor, and we ain't picking on you, Dustin. At least that much.
Big lips.
But wait, that's towards the end. But yeah, so I mean, in future casts, what we are probably going to do, if we're able to, or we'll probably end up using Fraps or something, is take actual video, and I'm going to have to learn how to video edit because I just know how to do audio very, very limitedly.
The thing is, though, if it does live stream, then we won't have to, because that will also allow you to like save what's going on your screen to a file.
Okay.
So you could probably save it to a video file, not just live stream it to the website live stream.
Right.
But be able to actually record video in game. A lot of games are doing it. Not only just screenshots, but recording the video and the audio. So, you know, we could basically be recording our podcast while we're doing stuff in game, so you guys can see what's going on. Like if we say, well, this is all messed up, or this needs to be fixed, or this is really cool, this is how you get through this or deal with this.
Right.
You know, we can have video instead of you just staring at a picture for the entire hour.
Right. A static.
Or however long the podcast.
Sorry for the static picture. That's as far as my video editing goes.
Right.
But I will work on getting better programs and actually learning how to do it, you know, based on how much time I have to actually learn it. So we might actually need to get someone who actually knows how to video edit, and I don't know. We'll see. That's down the lines. Future shit.
Right.
All right, let's talk about the game mechanics, classes, and races.
Right. So game mechanics, we have several things here. Game mechanics wise, it'd be kind of cool. So Dustin actually came up with an idea that would be, he said, wouldn't it be cool if smaller races could actually mount and ride bigger races?
Yep.
And I was like, well, that seems kind of silly. But then I thought, well, you know, that'd be kind of cool if, like, and maybe not mount them, but maybe if there was like a carry command. So like a gnome standing next to a human or an ogre or a troll or whatever can actually do a slash, you know, just a command that says carry me and target the player. And if the player accepts, they basically be like a piggyback ride on the larger race, so that they could run around together.
Yeah, that
seems
would
kind of silly,
awesome.
but it's kind of like a follow command, really, but one in which, you know, you can't actually drag the person off the cliff unless you jump yourself.
Right. Well, unless I mean, I could figure a way out.
Right. Like if you have a command that like unmounts
drops
the person,
them.
like either one can do it, and it kind of like throws them back a little. You could turn around at the cliff and do the command, and they get shot off. Yeah.
I mean, it would be better than just a slash follow, because you can get stuck on rocks and shit. This way, you can't. I mean, the person's actually carrying you around, and you.
Right.
It would help me out because I'm drunk half the time playing these games, so it would be fantastic.
Right, but you usually make those big old characters, and nobody's going to be carrying you around.
That would be hilarious. We were talking about that too. If a giant character, it would have an animation where the smaller character got squashed. Right,
maybe it's a strength-based skill.
Yeah.
So like if the gnome does have the strength, an ogre could ride on his back. But you know, if he accepts and he can't, he just goes gets flattened. Maybe there's an animation for that. That'd be kind of funny.
It would be.
Makes a squeak sound.
Yeah. Also, we think there should be a /rope or drag command.
And I love that command in Vanguard.
Whenever you got stuck, namely me, or, well, actually, I've got stuck a lot, too, in rocks or something.
Too.
I would jump over a rock, and I would jump and then get stuck in between the rocks, and there's no way to get unstuck except to do /stuck. But if I click on him and do /rope, he can actually, accept and then be zapped to exactly where I am. And that was one of the best commands ever in a game.
Right. I think it was good. I think it's also kind of nice, for role playing, because, if you're climbing up a cliff or you're in a place that you're kind of close to where everybody is, but, they can't get up, you can actually do the rope command and then you can pull them up to where you are.
Yep. And it worked within 10 meters, I believe.
Yeah, it was limited. It wasn't like 400 meters away
That would
or
be
anything
sweet.
like that. But, it was a cool command. I liked it. I think it's kind of better than stuck, although stuck sometimes is good if you get stuck inside a pillar or something.
Right.
You kind of need that because you can't get roped out of that.
Going along with that, the drag command actually would be pretty cool, especially for role players. If you do /drag on a person and your guy actually takes out a lasso, ties him up, and then you can run, and you got this character just being pulled along.
Right, or maybe you just grab his foot and you're dragging him along by his leg.
That would be cool too.
So, rocks, his head's going boink, boink, boink. That would be kind of bizarre with the movement style in this game. Can you imagine?
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Jumping over stuff and their heads bouncing off the rocks. And
yes,
that'd be
that would be hilarious. And then you just see their HP drop little by little. You can actually kill someone by smashing their face against the rocks.
Right.
Or if you jump in between two trees and their character's a bit too big, they get stuck and you rip off their leg. Or their shoe, probably their shoe. That would be funny.
Pops off, right.
Okay, so player-made dungeons. For farming XP and loot, I think they would have restrictions on the player-made dungeons so that you can't make them easy so you can farm XP and loot.
Right. I think the emergent AI would have to take over, because if you would have to pick specific mobs that you're going to put in there, and they're going to have their own AI. You might be able to tweak it a little bit. But we've talked about this before. I really think in a lot of situations that the AI should take care of scaling the player levels, how many players. It's very doable. They've already talked about the fact that they can procedurally create environments in EverQuest Next. They have the technology to do it. So having players create their own dungeons or whatever and submit them with, their game's doing it already. I believe, I could be wrong, but I thought SOE already did this in EQ1 and they did a very decent job of it. It's very doable. It adds content.
Yes.
Maybe I don't know, maybe you add a dungeon under your house or your guild keep, or, on this piece of land or whatever. I don't know. You could do all kinds of cool things with it.
Adding a dungeon underneath your house, because we were talking about that tunnel. If people can tunnel in your house, if you add a dungeon underneath your house, they use them like guards. That'd be sweet.
Right. Right. There's just so many things that you could do with it. But it also begs the question, because it is a tiered environment. You've got 5 different levels there. Where exactly, if you did do a player created dungeon, where exactly would it go?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a question that I don't have an answer to, because, we don't want anything instanced.
But at the same time, how do we put that in?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's a good question, which I really, at this point, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. But you could definitely provide, if they're providing people tools to build houses and keeps and castles and cities, then they have the ability. At that point, after you've built it, all you have to do is put the mobs in.
Yeah.
And set the AI and stuff like that, and you're done.
Yep.
And then, the AI and the, could take, hopefully what they're going to do with the emergent AI is, basically allow that to deal with like the mob loot or whatever.
Yeah. I think it'll all be taken care of itself. It's just a matter of
Right.
maybe you'll be able to create the environment that these can go in, and that's about it. And you choose which mobs you want in there, and then the rest is just all AI. So.
Ooh, that kind of, that's interesting. So the thought just occurred to me. So maybe, if you do have player-made dungeons, they would have to be around player cities, player structures.
Yeah.
So that could be controlled. And then, basically you could have the NPCs that give the rewards or whatever for these quests, to clear out these dungeons or whatever have you, would be in the player-made city.
Oh, that would be a very, very good excuse to get people in your city.
Right. Yeah.
That would be great.
And maybe you do this, and while the player gets a reward, maybe get a little kickback or something, some bonus, for the guild or the city, because there are more people. Maybe it's just the fact that you have people selling stuff and crafters or whatever, and they have to repair their gear and they spend money in your city. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But anyway, going on to crafting, we were talking about how you can dig into the ground and possibly make tunnels and maybe make some rooms down there. But we were wondering, how high can you build something? Can you make something really, really ridiculously tall, like a skyscraper? It's going to be a big-ass game. We just don't know how high we can build shit.
Right. It begs the question, hopefully they're going to come up with some type of semi-realistic physics, so you can't just like build this little steeple, that goes up 5 miles and defies all physics and gravity,
That'd be great. And then you put a bed on top of it, and that is your house.
Right. Yeah. You sit on top of your bed. I just thought of something, since they have this world tiered below, it would be very interesting. I'm wondering if they're going to have any like cloud cities or anything like that above ground, if they're doing that. I mean, because they've done it before in EQ2, where there were cities in the clouds, floating islands and stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, absolutely. Anything really high that I can jump off of is awesome.
Right. Which, begs, flying mounts. But, it also could be a solution for player cities or little small guild towns.
Yeah.
Floating islands. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I want our guild city on a floating island.
Right, but some people might.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely would be cool. We wouldn't want it because we want actual foot traffic into our city and not have you like look up in the sky every couple of minutes. Is it there yet? So.
It floated away. Where'd it go?
Exactly. Anyway, going on to combat mechanics. Dustin actually made a pretty decent point. Actually, a really good point. A lot of games nowadays, you're able to do headshots, and there's a lot of hitboxes pertaining to mobs. Would that work in EQN? Could you actually do a headshot and do instant kills in EQN? Would it work in an MMO at all?
I don't know about instant kills. It is possible. I mean, there are a lot of abilities in some MMOs. I mean, they're not like an instant kill, but
like a critical hit or something.
Yeah, you get a crit, you do a lot of damage. There's some that I believe, like in WoW, the hunters had an ability that if the mob was below a certain percentage, it basically gave you a percentage chance to kill the mob, basically outright.
Oh, okay.
So, depending on how they do the targeting, I mean, I can see if you lock on, like say as a ranger or something, you lock onto the target, and then, like if you have a bow or whatever, to be able to, move the target around to select, whether it's a headshot or a limb shot or a leg shot, and then you get different modifiers based on that. Like if it's a leg shot, their movements reduce. Headshot could be a crit. You hit a limb and then they're going to do less damage because they're injured, or if you hit their whatever.
That's interesting. So make it kind of class specific.
It would have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a wizard, certain things could possibly use a hitbox, but so many things are like area based or whatever. I can't just, there would maybe crit modifiers it would have to be based on the attack and the type of damage and, the class. Because wizards, I can't see them using a hitbox, but I can see like a wizard possibly having the ability to do, like if they throw a fireball, doing crit fire damage, or possibly catch they do a crit roll or whatever, and they catch the mob on fire, so it does extra damage over 5 turns or whatever.
Fireball to the face.
Right. Yeah. But rangers could do hitboxes because they shoot bows. Like maybe thieves or assassins or something like that. If they're behind an opponent with a dagger, they have a hitboxes where they can do crit damage or double or triple damage or whatever. I can see warriors, certain types of warriors having it hitbox. I can't see like a warrior that's got like a great sword being able to do hitboxes, but if they're using like a rapier or something that's a little more finesse based, then yeah, I can see hitboxes there.
Gotcha.
So I mean, you could do all kinds of cool things, and this kind of brings me to the fact that I am completely sick and tired of classes that are equal. I want classes that have their own unique abilities, and the uniqueness makes you want to play that class because they can do X. I don't want every class to be able to do X.
Right.
Or some version of it.
Now, kids, don't do X. It is not a good drug. Just throw
not
a
where
disclaimer.
I was going with that.
Yeah, I know.
But, yeah. Anyway.
It needed a little laugh in there. We were going on.
I'm rambling.
Where's the drops when you need them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
The hamster died. I don't know.
Okay, so Dustin made another point. What about mounted combat? He says he loves the game Mount and Blade, and he would do anything for his mount, which we'll go into this too with mounts with AI as well. We don't know much about the combat system other than it seems like it's more so AoE based, which is iffy, but that's just from very little samples that we saw. Now, would mounted combat work in an MMO?
Well, actually, it's funny you bring this up. They actually have mounted combat in Lord of the Rings Online now.
Oh, really?
It was actually an expansion, yes. It was a whole expansion dedicated to mounted combat. I've not played it, so I don't know how it works, but it is free to play. So,
I'm not downloading it again.
Right. What, you want to download it again? What the hell's
No,
wrong?
I just said I don't want to download it again. No.
That's what I'm saying. You don't want to. Why did you delete it in the first place? If you'd not deleted it, you could just install it and you wouldn't have to download it again.
Because I didn't like it.
Anyway. So it could work, but, it's one of those things that, I'm not so sure. Maybe mounted combat would have to be a class.
Maybe. But then people would bitch and cry, oh, it's overpowered. They can escape combat whenever they want. They go too fast. They can kite very easily.
Right? People whine no matter what.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they're going to find something to whine about.
Maybe,
but I mean, yeah, it would, I don't know.
Maybe have mounted combat, if you do put it in, be quest specific. So you have a specific quest that requires you to be on a mount and chase down a cow or a dragon or something and take it out.
Right.
Then they would have designated areas where you are able to do that. But again, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like an interesting idea. There's a lot of things that could go wrong with it, but there are a lot of things that they could do right with it as well.
Right. I mean, I don't know, maybe you make it so that any class can mount and do combat, but it speaks to a lot of issues, so I don't know. I mean, technically speaking, if you really want to get technical with it, there are classes that actually would benefit from mounted combat. Those that use lances, spears, swords, anything that you can charge and swing a piece of metal is going to benefit from that because of the momentum. On the converse side of that, rangers and anybody who's using, ranged combat or throw, they're going to actually be at a penalty because it's so much harder
to aim,
hit anything while you're moving, that you're throwing.
Unless you do it this way. If you're riding on your mount and you see something, have one of your first attacks be a mounted charge. So that way you mount, you charge with your mount, you whack the guy for a crit or whatever, and then you hop off. Your guy automatically hops off, and then you fight.
Right, but what do you do for wizards?
You teleport in.
I mean, I guess if you had a staff, you could whack him with your staff.
Right.
But if you have a wand, that's kind of what do you do? Poke him in the eye?
Yeah. Yeah,
You
poke
know
him,
what?
pick his nose.
It's a mounted charge, poke in the eye.
Yeah, well, I mean, each class would be different,
Right.
but
Right.
it's just something to throw on the table there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an idea. It's definitely an idea. It
Right.
wouldn't work for every class, but it definitely it could work. I mean,
Right.
maybe not every. I don't know.
Because what I do miss about Star Wars: The Old Republic was my force charge. I'm able to leap 25 meters away into battle, and I'm gonna want to do that being a tank in EverQuest next. Have it be named something else. Have my guy actually run instead of doing a ridiculously long and high jump, or let me be able to do a ridiculously high and long jump.
Right.
Moving on.
Stomp. I don't know.
Right. Moving on. Kind of really tied in with the mounted combat is mounts with AI. Dustin wants mounts with AI. He wants mounts that are with you all the time. I think that would probably bring a lot of grief because you just have mounts everywhere. Yeah, they'd probably follow you, but it would be a lot of just crap that you don't need in the way. Especially if they have that collision, the collision particles. So if you have a ton of people around, you can't get through.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's a cool idea, but there are definitely issues, like you pointed out. I mean, one, you could, if they're with you all the time, then you can have things like saddlebags and actually store things on your mount.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. But on the flip side of that, I can envision a really popular dungeon. So you've got a cave entrance, right? And you ride up, and there's like 100 horses swamped around the entrance, so you can't get to it. You have to jump over the horses or whatever to get to the entrance. So yeah, if you have collision on, it could be a problem. And plus the fact that if your horse is always with you, when you go into the dungeon, you have to leave your horse outside.
Yeah, and it's vulnerable. I don't want Blackie, a horse, you racists, to get eaten.
Yeah, eaten by like lions or bears or whatever.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean it's okay. I mean, because he doesn't want mounts that you call and then poof, they're there, which you kind of have to do. I mean, otherwise you have that,
unfortunately,
that population issue. So
yeah, I can't imagine the world's going to be so large that it wouldn't be an issue.
Right, and then he an issue or a topic. Would they fight with you? He wants his mount to be able to bite someone's nose off, which would be really cool. But there again, how do you balance that out?
Right. Well, I mean, I guess it would depend on the mount, obviously, and what type of combat they could do. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have pet classes. The only issue there is that a pet class is balanced with, their abilities so that they're not overpowered, next to a class that doesn't have a mount. But then again, if everybody could have a mount that was also a combat pet, then somebody who was a pet class could have their pet and a mount.
Yeah.
So I guess that wouldn't be too overpowered. I mean, it could work. I mean, they do that in Final Fantasy. Your mount at a certain level, I guess you can train it to attack, and you get different mounts that I guess do different things. It could work. It just depends. It's not something that it's ever been in EverQuest. Mounts have just always been mounts.
Yeah, I think we would just prefer them to be mounts. That's it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, persistent. I don't think is going to work. I mean, because then if you have more than one mount, where are you going to put them?
Right.
Then you have to have a house. You're going to have a stable. You're going to have to put your horses in there, tie them up, make sure they don't run away, and they might get eaten by wolves when you're out of It's just all kinds of problems.
It's a lot of bullshit, Dustin.
We don't want it that realistic.
No. Going on to classes, which is kind of tied into mounts. The beast trainer profession, which we don't know if it's going to be in the game, but it should.
Yeah, we're just kind of speculating. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Now, should you be able to, as a beast trainer profession, dole out different stats to mounts if they are combatants? Or would you be able to modify the stamina, the speed, stuff like that as a beast trainer?
Right. Well, in Star Wars Galaxies, I believe the beast class there, they could actually do that. Basically, they would raise it and train it, and they would have certain things that they could do, and then as they would grow, the stats would grow. I don't know if they could modify those or tweak them, but you consider training an animal. You train a racehorse, of course it's going to get faster and stronger and have more stamina than one that's not been trained to race.
Right.
So I think it's a very plausible question, and that way, beast trainers that bred the best horses or the best mounts or whatever could charge a premium for their mounts. I mean, just like a crafter who makes the best stuff. I think it's kind of a cool idea,
Yeah.
I think they should be able to make pets too.
Way to go, Dustin, man. I mean, you make us yell at you before, and then you instantly make up for it. Way to go. Okay, moving on. Races. What kind of races would we like to see in EQN?
Well, I mean, definitely all the basics. I'd like to see the base races that were always in EverQuest and EverQuest 2, which would include the elves, various elves, Highwood, Half, and Dark Elves. Dwarves, halflings, gnomes, humans, ogres, trolls, erudite, barbarians.
Ratongas.
No, those were the original EverQuest, and then EverQuest 2 added Ratongas, the Froglocks. Actually, Froglocks might have been added to the original EverQuest eventually. Ixars were added in an expansion, which is a lizard race. Draken were added to EverQuest, which is like a dragon blood. So I guess, I mean, there's so many things that you could choose from, but I'd like to see the basics: elves, dwarves, halflings, gnomes, humans, probably ogres, trolls, barbarians, and erudite, definitely.
Yeah.
And then maybe, throw in some of the extra races that were in some of the expansions. I know some people wanted Fae, and then what is the cat race that they're going to add?
The Karen?
Oh, the Kara. Yeah, the Karen. But we know that's probably in because they showed the model of it.
Yeah, the WoW-inspired character.
Right, yeah.
Or the armor that we didn't care for.
Right. I'd like to see some variations on that, though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'd kind of like to see maybe like a half orc race or half giant. I think that would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe instead of barbarian, barbarians were kind of cool, but the large, kind of I guess good large race, while the ogres and trolls were evil races.
Right.
Which is kind of strange because, the evil race has got 2 large races and, the good side only got 1. I guess maybe barbarians might have been neutral. Half orc, I think it'd be kind of cool.
I want to play unicorn.
I want to play kazoo. Anyway, I mean, it's just there's so many things you could do. Like one of the things that so they added a free blood race, which is a vampire race.
Mm-hmm.
I already mentioned the Draken, which is a human race with dragon blood.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool, but you could also add, like, if you're going to do a vampire race, you could add a type of race, like a werewolf type of race. They did that in WoW.
They also did pandas. Ugh.
Yeah,
no
I know.
pandas.
No pandas. No, I agree 100%. No pandas.
No
pandas.
Now, should races have useful abilities to make them unique? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah, I am all for giving races a unique ability that makes them unique.
Yes.
Like, one of the things that I loved about the original EverQuest was trolls had regeneration. So they actually regenerated hit points twice as fast than any other race.
Mm.
So did Ixar. So a lot of people who played the Ixar played a Necromancer because the Necromancers had abilities that would life tap.
Oh.
Not life tap, but they would basically convert their health into mana.
Right.
So, but they would regenerate mana. So, if you do things like that, then it makes playing certain classes preferable to be a certain race. Like elves. High elves had like really good night vision. Dark elves had ultra vision. They could see really good in the dark.
Right. So on and so on. Yeah, but
right,
it definitely should be in the game. I mean, if you make everything it's just a skin, go for it. That doesn't give you any sort of incentive to play anything besides, oh, this looks cool. So then you're going to have everybody looking the exact same because everyone's going to think one class looks awesome.
There's no flavor to the races. There's no reason to pick one over the other. I just don't agree with that.
Yeah.
In endgame, sure, it's probably all gonna, be the same. It doesn't matter what race you pick for what class, but to me, it's not that. It's the flavor of the class. Like in the original EverQuest, gnomes could be tinkerers. They could make mechanical crap, and I don't think anybody else could.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think every race should have a unique ability unto that race.
Right. Now,
Right.
They could do, because I know they're doing the free-to-play with the in-game store, they could do a few races that you'd have to buy. I mean, I'm down with doing some Sony Cash, but don't make them all. Make it like a special race. Don't make it like you get these like 4, but then the rest.
Maybe like the Free Blood, the Werewolf, the Draken, the Dragon Blood.
Right.
You know, I don't know, something like that. Those races along those lines.
That'd be pretty cool. Now, speaking of in-game stores, we are okay with fluff items. Just cosmetic shit, that's cool. We definitely do not want it to be a pay-to-win type game. We are sick of the pay-to-win games, and they just end up pissing people off anyway.
Right. About the only thing that isn't fluff that I'm okay with are XP bonus potions.
Right.
And the reason why I'm okay with it is you still have to level. It's not like a magic leveling potion, but it helps people who have money and don't have time. Like when I was younger, I had all the time in the world and I could play so much. Now I have a job.
Yeah.
I can't play all that much, but I have money. I have some money.
I work from home doing voiceovers, and yet, no matter how long I play, this guy's always 5 levels ahead of me, and it pisses me off. I don't know how he does it. He's cheating.
Without XP potions.
You hacker.
Sad but true.
Anyway, because it'd just be like, I'd be, doing the quest, grinding, getting bored, because it's like, okay. And then you hop on, you gain 3 levels, and it's like, how the hell did you... I'm just playing, I'm not doing anything. Shut up, you're doing something different, man, I know it.
That's because I maximized my questises. I grouped my questises because they're in the same area or they kill the same mobs.
Well, yeah.
And it's much quicker.
That's what I do too, but it's just like, man, we could do the same amount of quests, but somehow
you're not optimizing your time.
I like to go to the strip taverns.
Right.
Anyway,
well,
so
there's your problem.
Yeah. So housing items like specialized furniture could be sold in the in-game store. Going along with furniture, we need to be able to sit or in a bed lay down and have a sleep emote. We are so sick of these games that have, oh look, a chair, I want to sit down, and then you just sit, cross-legged or whatever.
Right, yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's tarded.
Why have a house with furniture if you can't sit in the damn chair?
Exactly. And
it's ridiculous.
It's just useless, static imagery that we don't need.
Virtual world. We want a virtual world.
Exactly. House pets. Something to greet you when you come home. A happy little whatever.
A little dragon pup. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, that would be great to have, because I know you could have pets in Star Wars Galaxies in your house. They would just stand there. Like, it was funny, though, because you walk in and you see a fucking Rancor right there, and you just about shit yourself because it's the first thing that loads and it's in your face.
Right. Well, I mean, you could have pets in EQ2, and they would wander around, which was okay, and you could, like, right-click and do little menu things. But I think it would be really cool. Hey, I've already mentioned this. If you had a beast tamer class or a trainer class or whatever, they could create pets for people and sell them. But one of the things I think it would be really cool is if they have the emergent AI system, they should do that for the pets too in your house. So like for just like if you have a dog in your house,
right?
Have either to be able to train that or whatever, or tweak the AI so that when you come home, the dog greets you at the door and barks or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Or wags his tail or begs for a treat till you give him a treat, and then he goes and lies there, whatever. I think it would be really, really cool if, and maybe because it's emergent AI, your pet would actually learn. So, like, if you come home and you smack your dog,
it bites you in the ass when you don't look.
Right. Well, eventually, it's going to stop coming to you at the door. Maybe it will, when you turn around, bite you in the ass. But if you come home and you call your pet and you give him a treat, eventually maybe he'll come to the door when you come home and be happy to see you, what have you. But I think it would be nice to have more AI with house pets to make them a little more realistic, instead of them just kind of meandering around the house.
And that's
randomly.
Not so realistic to where if you leave the door open, your pet runs away and then you gotta fucking find it.
Right. You know, just something that would interact with the player a little bit more. You know, maybe a cat. If you had a cat that would sleep on your bed, sleep on a chair, you know,
Right.
come and greet you, purr, rub up against you, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it would be cool, and it should be doable because of the emergent AI system.
Right. And we believe probably houses should be in the in-game store. If you don't have time to build your own house or set up a blueprint or try and find someone, have homes be purchasable.
Right. Well, I believe the whole idea behind a lot of this stuff is that players can create blueprints of houses or even the whole house and put it and sell it for real cash.
That'll be really cool for you crafters out there.
Right, and they can do that with the furniture and all this other stuff. You know, Sony will take their little cut, you know, but I think the cool thing about this is it's going to give the players who do like to decorate their houses more choices.
Yeah.
Because players are going to be making this. It won't just be the devs working their little artist fingers to the bone trying to come up with new stuff. I mean, it's not easy.
It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think it will. And they already have it in some of their other games where you can create items and it goes through this process of where they okay it and then they put it on the store. So
right.
It's going to be in the game. I think it's going to be really awesome.
Be an easy way if you're really good at that shit to make some cash while you play.
Right.
We're talking real cash, not just gold. Real cash.
Right.
Yes. Let's see. Only specialized mounts should be in the in-game store, I think. Like very, very rare, very, very limited. Also have them, be, obtainable in the game as well. Have some in, that you could purchase in the in-game store.
Right. Like if you have mounts that you can get, in raids or whatever, those definitely should not be purchasable. And it should be just like, that Uber sword that you have to raid for.
Right.
But, once again, there's that balance, for some people who don't have time to raid, but, want that really cool mount or a flying mount, they should be able to buy something.
Right.
Not the same one as the raiders get, but they should still be able to purchase something.
Right. Same goes with pets.
Right.
Pretty much the same parameters go with that.
Yep.
Players should be able to create appearance items. Take it away.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I had this cool idea. So a lot of games have the appearance item slots, so that you can equip whatever you want, and then you have your appearance. Well, one of the things that I believe they talked about in one of the chats was, it might have been in the reveal, where they basically, I think they're coming up with an idea, a concept of unlocking, I guess, appearances for weapons. Like say you get, Uber raid sword, right? And it's got stats, but it looks really cool. And then you go on and you level up and you get a better sword, but it doesn't look as cool. You like the look of the other one.
Right.
Well, I believe they came up with a system where you can actually change the appearance of the item and keep the stats.
Yes.
Because you've unlocked that raid item look. You can basically use that for any sword that you want. As long as it's, I guess, the same type of sword. So that would be like a long sword or whatever.
Right. That, yeah, I believe that is confirmed.
Right. So my idea was, they would have to be not visuals like that, but it would be cool if players in the store, because I don't think you should be able to buy weapons, but if you could buy the appearances of weapons that players could design and put in the store and sell, or armor or clothing, so that you can buy appearances on the store, on the the SOE store, and then you could basically apply those to your in-game weapons and clothing and armor.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Right. I mean, and that goes again with the fact that, well, I might not have time to raid, so I can't get that really cool raid look, but it doesn't mean that I should have to look like crap,
Right. And, and it's a good way if people are like PvPing or
our peers.
Right. Or and someone wants to duel you and you're getting really sick of them just, chasing you around. Get this shit, make your shit look really, really badass, and then they shouldn't touch you again.
They'll be like, oh my God.
That dude's gonna kill me and rape me. So, yeah, that would be really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure by the time you all listen to this, I'm sure you already know that you are able to buy EverQuest Next Landmark packs for the game. And judging by the dates that they give us, we were told that we were going to get to be able to get into some of the universe this year, this winter, but it looks like it's not going to happen. Judging by these dates, February 28th on or before that, it's looking like. But
now, is that the beta date?
That is, I think that's the beta date, actually, yeah.
Right, which means alpha should be before that.
Right, so Av and I did purchase the I'll go through them right now. For $20, you get the Settler Pack. You will receive your items on or before March 31st, 2014, and you get unlimited closed beta. You get a Settler flag, a specialized pickaxe, a title, and a forum title. There's the next step up, which is the Explorer Pack for $60. You get all the crap that I just told you about, and you get alpha access. You get the Explorer flag, Ring of Bounty, which gives you get a chance to get a 10% bonus on all resource gathering. Mega Pocket, which you can increase your vault or your actual pockets, and you get a couple sets of gear, which look pretty neat, actually. And then for $100, you get the Trailblazer pack, which gives you all the shit I said beforehand, on top of alpha access, of Trailblazer flag, a Mastercraft bracer, which gives you a bonus in crafting, a Void Vault, which they said you get on day one, and you can access everything, all your vaults through this, which to make a vault, it's going to take you weeks to gather all the shit, so that's going to be really cool. Also, a couple more sets of gear, your name in the EverQuest Next Landmark credits, early access to the beta forum, forum title, alpha boost, which will grant you 20% bonus to collecting resources for 2 weeks, and in-game title Trailblazer. Also, 4 shareable closed beta keys. Now, being the gamers that Av and I are, and
you forgot Head Start Open Beta Access.
Oh yeah, we also get a Head Start and Open Beta Access. Up to 48 hours after they wipe all the closed beta stuff. Sorry, I forgot that. Being the hardcore gamers that Av and I are, and seeing how they seem to be on top of their shit this time, and we are very, very excited for this game. We both bought the Trailblazer pack. What does that mean, Av? I'll answer that.
Means
no, go ahead.
we both have 4 shareable closed beta keys.
That is correct,
total of 8.
Av. Wow. Now, I believe...
can do math.
Yay! I believe 2 of them are already spoken for a couple guildies, but that would leave 6 of them to give away as prizes. Now, word on the street is Dustin said, and I'm putting you on the spot, Dustin, he said that he is buying the Trailblazer pack as well, which would mean we would have 4 more if he doesn't give it away to friends. But he also did say something about a couple other prizes for people too, if you guys subscribe and listen weekly, which we would enjoy. But yeah, in order to be eligible for those, we're gonna do a couple trivia questions, probably starting whenever we get the beta keys. We'll let you know. But you have to be subscribed to our channel and probably listen weekly, because I say stupid shit. Av doesn't, but we might quiz you on that.
I don't know about that.
We might quiz you on that. So that's another exciting thing that we had to tell you guys.
Right. And the questions will be at various places within. It's not always going to be the same part of the podcast. And
exactly.
It won't be at the beginning.
Yep, exactly. So you can't just skip around. I'm going to go to an hour 20 and see what the hell there's. Nope, motherfucker, you got to listen to the entire thing. And I'm sorry if my calling you listeners the MFer was a little harsh. I don't apologize, motherfucker. Deal with it.
But we do apologize to Jeff Butler for yelling.
Yes, we are sorry for Jeff Butler for yelling at you on the first podcast. We didn't mean to, and
we just get passionate about our game. You understand?
Yeah, come on, man. We're pros, right? We need to get you on the show, Mr. Butler, but he probably hates us anyway. So, actually, we need to get you on the show. Any devs or Dexala? Come on.
Right.
Come on
We get a
over.
TeamSpeak server, so it's not like you actually have to go anywhere.
Right. And we tried to do this on Skype as well, but Skype seemed to fuck up horribly.
It didn't work very well.
No, but
that's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, right before we start recording this podcast, we saw a roundtable discussion on death penalties, which I thought nothing was really said. They said that they don't have a definitive answer. Basically, It was more of like, I guess, something to keep us busy, and they will revisit this question in the future, which if you're going to do that, why not actually answer a question that you could answer? But that's just me.
Right, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I haven't had time to go and find the suggestions that some of these people have given forth. They just kind of touched on, one was death penalty based on
how you die,
your situation, how you die, right?
Which would be interesting.
It could be interesting. I mean, but like they said, the problem with death penalties is, something that is annoying to one person is fine to another for a death penalty.
Right.
So what do you do?
Right. I think they're just going to do the basic. You lose a little bit of XP, no de-leveling, and you have to repair your gear. That's probably what's going to happen.
Right.
But
who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have tombstones. You have to go get some of your stuff. I don't know.
Maybe if you want to hear our thoughts on it, you got to listen to a couple podcasts back. So
I think they should just do permadeath and be done.
No. Oh my God, you lose so many players. All right.
No, I mean permadeath.
Oh,
you
really?
die, your account gets deleted. You have to buy another one.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm just joking.
Oh, I know. The way I thought of it was, you die, a GM from the game comes to your house and slaughters you.
Jeez.
Now that's harsh.
That would be a harsh death.
Yeah, it would. Okay, well, we're winding down here. We've got one last thing to say. If you are in EverQuest Next, if you do play, and if Dustin does join our guild, or if you happen to see an ogre chick named Pickle Lips, do not fuck this chick. It is Dustin. That's pretty much it. Do you have anything else, Av?
No, that's it.
All right. Thanks for listening to this podcast. This is episode 5 of the NightBreedCast. I have been Eyes Adrift.
This is Avico.
And thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the NightBreedCast with your hosts, Eyes Adrift and Avago. From all of us at the NightBreed Studios, thanks for listening. And as always, thank you, Internet.
We love you, Jeff Butler.